Out of Focus. Now, in Out of Focus, we dig into something that I think people are talking about wrong in the industry. In filmmaking, when something is out of focus, it's hard to see what's really going on. And right now, the film industry is obsessing about whether you should spend as much time and money on marketing as you do making your film. But it is a real concern. Well, I guess the question is it a real concern, or are we missing the bigger picture? Let's sharpen up that focus ring and focus in and find out. So, should you spend as much time marketing your film as you do making it? So, let's say you're a filmmaker. You spent 2 years writing, crowdfunding, casting, shooting, editing, color grading, ADRing, fixing frame rates, crying in Premiere Pro, and then you upload your film to Vimeo. You post it once to Instagram, you tweet about it, and that's it. You just get crickets after that. That is how easy first-time filmmakers think the process is. But if you don't invest more effort than that, then you will probably not get return on the time that you spent building your film. So, look, if nobody sees your film, did you really make your film? It's like I can't make a Pope joke. I was going to say, does the Pope shit in the woods? If a tree falls in the woods and nobody is there to hear it, did it actually fall? As a filmmaker, you're not just making art, you are launching a product. And even the best films die in obscurity without a strategy. Think of filmmaking as a marketplace where visibility is survival more so than anything else. Attention is currency in 2025. Distributors want films with heat. Festivals want films with buzz. Streamers want films with data, which you do get from a social media presence. And marketing gives you all three of those things. Marketing, a lot of filmmakers aren't passionate about marketing, but it helps if you think about marketing as storytelling. That your poster, your trailer, your Instagram grid, those are all prequels to your movie. They help you build hype and plant seeds and tell the story behind the story. I was actually talking to somebody about their film project last week, and they were trying to figure out how they should best go about marketing their film. And I was like, well, tell me about your film. And they're like, this guy moves to New York and does this and that. And I'm like, so you have the story that is this segment of a person's life. What questions do you have about that person that are not answered in that, right? What leads up to this event? What happens after this event? What happens around this person when this thing is happening in your film? Are those stories that you could tell? How do you build not just the narrative of we made this, these are the people who were involved in making this, and this is how we made it? And not just the story of this is what this is, just true, here's a trailer of the film, here's what the film's about, here's a film poster that tries to tell you what the film is about. What are the other stories that you could tell? And if you thrive because of the creative side of this industry, then think about it creatively. What are the things that add to that? What gets people passionate about and invested in the character to the point where they will then want to see what happens to the character by going to see your movie? So thinking about it as storytelling is important. And then there's just the straight up number thing of it, right? Like we talked about it earlier on in this episode that every filmmaker, every film studio spends typically the same amount of money marketing a film as they do making that film. Even A24 spends millions of dollars marketing their films. They stage events, they make fake social accounts, they build websites. If they have to fight for attention, if A24 and Neon and Blumhouse have to fight for attention, then so do you, right? Now, there's the flip side of that, right? There are a couple of arguments to say, no, you should not spend money on marketing your film, not to the degree that you do making your film. Here what I hear probably the most when it comes to that argument, and it all kind of circles around to, if your film is good enough, it will find its audience. Marketing takes away from the art. You didn't become a filmmaker to become like a full-time social media manager. You are not a brand. You don't view yourself as a brand. And if you wanted to be an influencer, then you would probably be making unboxing videos, right? Or doing TikTok dances or wedding videography. Sorry, I actually do wedding videography. Some films do get discovered, and that's an argument that I see, right? It's not often, but like Primer gets discovered, El Mariachi gets discovered. Marketing is a means to an end, but it's not a guarantee. Putting your film out there without marketing is much less of a guarantee. I'd argue that. And marketing can feel gross, right? Self-promotion is hard, especially for introverted artists, and hustling your own movie can feel like selling your soul one tweet at a time. To that, I go back to, think of marketing as storytelling. Think about it from the lens of being a storyteller, and maybe that can help you find a little bit more passion for what you're doing. You don't need to become a marketer, but you do need to have a marketing mindset. I like to, when I'm consulting with people, I like to base my decision making on a process that I call no content left behind. And that is, when you are making a movie, there is a lot of content that you are generating, and maybe not all of it is going, a lot of it's not going to make it into your film. How can you use what was filmed and what went into making your film without abandoning any of it? Do you have B-roll? Do you have bloopers? Do you have how can you move the script? How can you build visuals out of what you have? Did somebody take behind the scenes photos? Do cast and crew, are they taking selfies on set? Those are all things that are content that you shouldn't leave sitting out there and doing nothing. So look, if you spend 6 months shooting and editing your movie, then I think that you should spend another 6 months building your audience, pitching to press, optimizing your metadata on your website, your social media posts, and making your movie discoverable. Because one, the system isn't fair, and you're giving yourself a leg up as best you can. But two, because your film deserves it. You put in the work to build this film, and it deserves to be promoted to the degree that you can promote it. And the most successful films are the films that spend as much time, money, and effort marketing themselves as they do anything else. So you should factor that into your budget. Or you should say, hey, this is my film budget, and, I'm paying out of pocket for this. It was hard to get this money, and I worked really hard to get this money, and this is the money that I have. But when it's done, I will then say, hey, the next X number of months of my life are dedicated to sweat equity equivalent to the $10,000 that I paid to make my film. I'm going to spend $10,000 worth of effort to then go market and promote it.